I just want to emphasize some points. Firstly, I think timeliness is a very important characteristic of financial information. Imagine someone asking you to judge whether the financial information is useful or not. You may think whether the information is relevant, whether it is reliable, and whether it is timely. And this paper is related to the timeliness of accounting information. And it looks at the impact of internal control problems on audit delay. And audit delay affects the timeliness of accounting information. To be more specific, this paper wants to answer some following questions. Do internal control problems affect audit lags? How does this effect change over time? Is there any difference between the accelerated filers and non-accelerated filers? And how does the remediation of internal control problems affect the audit report lags? And then this is the model which he introduced very well. And to investigate the author's research questions, I think what they use to answer these questions, their research design is very smart. Instead of using some indicators, they just conduct their regressions using 4 samples: the accelerated filers, the non-accelerated filers in fiscal year 2008 and 2009, and they make comparisons between these 2 kinds of filers and make comparisons over time. And this is the result. This is their main findings. Material weakness in internal controls does increase audit lags. We can find this implication by the coefficient of MWIC, material weakness in controls. We can find that in each regression, the coefficient is significantly positive. And the second point is that only for accelerated filers, there is a decline in the impact of material weakness in internal control on the audit delay from 2008 and to 2009. So only for accelerated filers, the coefficient of MWIC declines from 20 to 10.5 days in audit delay. And the third point is that the impact of material weakness in internal controls on audit delay is higher for accelerated filers than on non-accelerated filers. Actually, this effect is only significant in fiscal year 2008. So by comparing accelerated filers and non-accelerated filers, we could find a very significant difference between these 2 types of filers. And the first one is...
What are accelerated and non-accelerated? Big companies versus smaller companies, isn't it? What is the difference between accelerated and the not accelerated?
It's based on the market cap.
Yes, the market cap.
Yeah.
There are bigger companies and smaller companies. The accelerated ones are the
bigger ones.
But I also find in the paper that there are some small accelerated filers. Actually, the author compared the small accelerated filers with the long accelerated filers of the same size and make some comparisons. But I think whether the firms is accelerated type or non-accelerated types, mainly based on their size. Okay, and also there is a result from an untabulated analysis. It is that the overall decline in the audit lag for accelerated filers comes from a decline in the lag associated with account level weakness. And then there is question 3. I think the research design for this question is also very smart. So the author uses 3 groups of firms. The first one is firms who are clean, who are good in both years. The second one is firms have internal control problems in both years. And the third one is that the firms who have problems before and then remediate their problems later. and they make some changes to their models, replace the MWIC by 2 indicator variables. And I want to explain this reaction a little bit more. So they first research question is they want to find whether there is a difference between the companies who continue to have problems and the companies who remediate their problems. So to answer this question, we should compare the coefficient of these 2 variables. And the question B is they want to compare the firms who remediate their problems and those firms who don't have the problems. And to answer these questions, we will check the coefficient of this variable. Now here is the result. For both accelerated filers and non-accelerated filers, we find the coefficient of this variable is significantly positive, which suggests that compared with firms with clean internal control reports in both years, the remediating clients still face longer audit report lags. And then we compare these variables. We will find a significant difference here, but not there. So our conclusion is that for accelerated filers, compared with firms who continue to have internal control problems, the remediating clients have shorter audit report lags. And there is also a untabulated analysis which suggests that small accelerated filers are treated by auditors as being similar to other accelerated filers. And they're being treated quite differently from those firms who are non-accelerated filers but of the same side, which is what I talked to Professor before. Okay, so this is my comment. Thank you.
So let me go back to that question. Is this interesting research?
Yes.
You like it?
Yeah, it's empirical. Java's presentation, that paper is very hard to understand, but interesting.
The first paper.
Yeah,
First paper.
lots of concepts there.
I mean, it's kind of a round of beating around CompuStat with some on auditing. There's a whole line of research that is kind of a mix between market research and audit research. And I don't think that it's particularly interesting to find that a company without problems will report faster than a company with problems. Is it very interesting? Meaning, we would expect that, and if you ask our students here that practice, you don't. Correct? Now, the other stuff, remediation is a little bit more interesting. But the great advantage of this research, as she very well just said it, is that the data is all sitting there, right, waiting. All what you do is analysis on the data. And, you know, merging audit analytics with CompuStat is not difficult. Okay? Last year, I think was TIFF and FEDI, etc., did a study like this for the project, and they found a little corner of these evaluations that no one had done before. So they are going to be submitting it now to a journal, and they'll get it accepted. May not go in the audit journal, might get into managerial auditing or internal journal auditing. But this is, excuse me the expression, but it's a little bit quick and dirty research, correct? Meaning you're just doing a fast effect analysis with data that you have in your hands. It's much easier, and that, I think that's the reason why so much of the financial accounting research is all CompuStat based. The moment you have a big database that you can explore, life becomes much easier. And you see the papers that come in. I don't know how many have come in the financial area recently because I haven't been going to those seminars. But it's much easier, because if you are looking for fast papers, this is the kind of thing to be done, even if it's in the audit area. I actually think that they, I agree with you, they did a good job with what they had. I had the suggestion for you. When you had your bullets there, you just had the name of the variable, and when you saw her, she had the name of the variable explanation. It's much easier to see instead of having to go there and say, what was this variable, and etc. So even with this audience that has supposedly read the paper, it's good to explain carefully in your slides. Okay, and I thought the way you displayed it was very good. I thought that was a very good way to explain what this paper is all about. Okay, can you just tell me a little bit about this thing about what does it mean in remediation? A little bit about what is the theory behind practice here, and what is this remediation issue here? Yes.
Well, from my experience, if we found controlled efficiency, so at this point it's not an efficiency material.
This isn't the Bearville Live Express station. Can't get anything past you, kid. You said I would be going on a ride to Bearville Alive. I did, but this time we need some help from some very special bears. I hope they can help me. I've been at my new school for a whole week, but I've just been too nervous to talk to anyone. There's your ride,
how
kid.
did they identify that there was remediation?
In the regression model, like
But where am I
the equation
going?
changes. It's like binary. If it is 1 or 0,
Let's just say
and accordingly,
Yeah, but how
we
do
are
you
the
know
only
that there was
bears that
remediation?
care.
if there are flags, if the flag indicates that it has changed, then there is remediation. If the flag is still the same, then it's not changed.
Yeah,
Wow!
but the flag is in your data, or you generate the flag, or was it changed from year to year? How do you identify if there was? How do
Oh
they
my
identify
gosh!
the
It's the
remediation?
Care Bear Lighthouse!
I thought they
Isn't it beautiful? It's G-R-E-A-T! Great! You're Tenderheart Bear!
So they got it
Care
out
Bear!
of
And you must be Cassie.
They
You
had a
know
group
my
that was
name?
remediated. How
Yes,
did they figure out
and we know
what
you're
remediated?
feeling a
Was
little
it
down.
Comparing
Yeah,
if there was
I'm
a
nervous
weakness in
about
internal
trying to
control
make
one
new
year,
friends.
and the next year there
Making
wasn't?
friends is fun! Why would
Yes.
you be nervous about that? Because I've been going to
Well,
my
I'm
new
asking
school
because I
for
don't know. I'm curious.
and I don't have any friends yet. Well, did you introduce yourself? No, I'm too nervous.
Everybody gets nervous, Cassie.
Brave bears don't.
I'll let you in on a little secret.
That's what
Even
I
the
thought they
bravest
did.
bear gets nervous
That's what I thought.
sometimes.
And it's actually something
You
to be
do?
thought about.
Of course.
And this is
I'm
kind
not
of
always
time
sure what the
series
best thing to do
sequences
is.
that you see
I just follow my
differences in
heart.
behavior.
And what does
And
your heart
also
tell
they,
you?
what I think
tells
was you
me
that this
I wanna
auditor
make
changes would be a
And it's
very
all up
interesting
to you.
variable thing.
You just
include
walk right
on
in
this.
there with your
It might
head
be
up
easy to
high
study.
and
I
talk
didn't
to
figure out who
somebody.
did that.
But
I
what would
remember
I
going to
say?
talk to Michael
Hello
Cohen
would be a good
because he
start.
was with one of the smaller
Cassie,
firms.
only Care
And,
Bears have belly
asking
badges.
him, and he didn't
we made you
realize
something
how
special
high
to bring
was the
home from
percentage of
Carol.
auditor changes in these
That's
cases
a bravery
of
badge.
remediation.
It'll
So
remind
there
you
is
of
a
the
lot of that.
bravery
I
in
don't know
there
if there is
when you
literature
go back
already
to
on this,
school.
or we are
It
just the
looks
first one doing that.
amazing!
But it's actually interesting to ask. It does.
Oh,
It
I've got to
research,
go.
yeah, it's easier.
Thank you, Tenderheart Bear.
When
Thank you, Cheer
Janine
Bear.
Knauf did the dissertation with me on prevention and conversion, she spent a year in
I
the
like
library
her.
collecting
C-A-S-S-I-E,
what the benches converted or not.
Sassy Cassie.
And so it's so much easier.
Come on, Cheer Bear.
And we used to spin tapes. We don't do tapes anymore. But it was
I
just
can't
so
believe
easy
that
and they could write
Tenderheart
their
Bear
way.
thinks I'm
It's pretty
great.
nice. So one day to the other, you have different findings and etc. So yeah, it's practical. I bet you that Mercervi and Winston took a long time to do what they did. And getting subjects is a bear. Now you guys have big advantage of getting subjects because of, I think with radar, we're going to get a lot of access to subjects.